And thank you for joining me. Let's have a little bit chat about Gutter-Vac. So for a start, tell us, when did you join Gutter-Vac? How long have you been with Gutter-Vac now?
I joined in January 2018, so it's been around about 7.5 years now.
Okay, that's a considerable time. I remember when you started, so I didn't realize it was quite that long ago. It feels a bit sooner
I
than that.
know it's gone pretty quick. Yeah, so I've done one term, 5 years, and I'm in sort of halfway through my second term, I guess.
Tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about what you were doing before you joined Gutter-Vac.
Okay, so before Gutter-Vac, I was still working for myself. I was working as a contractor. I was in the blind and curtain and awning industry, so I was doing installations. Working for a few different companies. Then I sort of scaled it down to sort of one company that I was exclusively working for. But I was doing a lot of work all around Melbourne, finishing at, different suburbs, usually a long way from home. So a lot of travel, and it just, they were very long days. And in the end, I just sort of felt like I needed to make a change to sort of try and get a better lifestyle and just improve things for myself, I guess.
So
Yeah.
how did you hear about Gutter-Vac and what was your thought process? So you've sort of alluded to that a little bit, that, you were having long days, lots of travel. So when you
Yeah.
sort of decided to make a change, what were you looking for? How did you find out about Gutter-Vac? What was that next step?
I'm from memory. I think I found out about Gutter-Vac online somewhere. I was looking at businesses and then I looked at franchises and I was basically trying to find something that I think would suit me. I've always sort of worked either in a service-based industry or outside. I like working outside. So, and with my previous work, I was up and down ladders and stuff, doing awnings and things like that. So I sort of thought, oh, well, I can do this type of work, so that's a tick for a start. And from there, I just sort of started looking into it. I had a meeting with the sales guy back then, and then I had a meeting with Warren, and it just sort of went from there. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So did you find that because you had that experience, contracting and your own business beforehand, did you find that that lent itself to Gutter-Vac? Did you feel like you kind of had a bit of a jump start going into business?
Definitely, yeah, yeah, because it's all about relationships with your customers. So um, definitely, it was very similar. When I was doing awnings and curtains and all that sort of stuff, I was going from house to house, meeting customers, building relationships with them. It's exactly the same with Gutter-Vac. It's all about your customers, trying to build relationships so that they keep using you. Yeah, so very similar, service-based sort of industry. So
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the
yeah,
head there where you said that. I once heard Warren say that Gutter-Vac's a customer service business. We happen to clean gutters. And I think you've just
yeah,
absolutely backed that up, that it's actually all about your customers. And that's the key to building a great Gutter-Vac business.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's all about building your customer base because once you've got that a good customer base, you just keep getting repeat work, and things become very easy after that. So it's good.
Do you find that most
Yeah.
of your work is pretty much repeat work, word of mouth coming to you? Do you chase much work now, 7.5 years later, or do you find that most of it's, you're just shaking your head, so most of it's coming to you?
Yeah, yeah. Most of it comes to me. Like I do marketing, but I don't really spend a lot of money on marketing these days because I don't feel like I need to. So it's good that way. And we've got a CRM that works really well for us as far as sending out reminders to our customers, getting the repeat work coming through. It just makes it very simple. As long as you treat your customers well and do a good job, they just keep using you. So it just becomes, as time goes on, it just gets easier. So
Yeah, isn't
yeah,
that the key to having a really great business, when it's that repeat work. You're not stressing about it, having to chase work everywhere. You can come in, you can
Yeah,
start the week by knowing, hey, we've got plenty of work coming in. It's not that stress. And you were in business before
yeah,
Gutter-Vac, so you know what it's like when it is stressful. It's not much fun.
yeah,
Tell us a little bit about,
yeah.
you're in Knox, that Knox area in Melbourne. Tell us a little bit about Knox, the demographic of it, what sort of customers you're servicing, what sort of work you see come through.
Yeah, so a lot of my work is residential work. Just sort of turned out that way that I just seem to get a good customer base of residential work, which is really good because I enjoy doing residential stuff because you're moving from house to house. You see a few different people every day, and keeps things interesting. Um, I also do commercial work with schools, factories, retirement villages, a few other things I can't
Probably
remember.
got
But
some real
yeah,
estate
but there
work in
is.
there, some body corporate work.
Oh yeah, yeah, real estate work as well. Yep, do real estate work, which is good. They'll just send you work orders and just go out and do it. Usually just rental properties. So yeah, so it's a good different, like a good, variation of different work that we get.
Mm.
So
And how have you
yeah.
got your business set up at the moment? Do you work on your own? Do you have staff? Where are you at with your business? What option, which choose your own adventure did you like? Which is what I love about Gutter-Vac. You can work on your own or you can build bigger. Which
Yeah,
choose your own
yeah,
venture did you go down the path of?
yeah. I chose the work by myself adventure. Keeps things simple, but I actually think that one of the best choose your own adventures is the husband and wife team with Gutter-Vac. I see that quite a bit, and those guys seem to do really well because usually the husband's out doing the jobs with by themselves or with their employees, and the wives are sort of keeping all the admin stuff ticking along and making sure that they get paid and they send out their reminders and all that sort of stuff. And it seems to work pretty well for a lot of the guys. So, but yeah, for me, I'm just doing it by myself. So yeah, I sort of like it that way. So
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's a highly profitable model working on your own, that's for sure. And then also,
it
do you
is.
find that that gives you a lot more flexibility with your time? So you get that work-life balance because you're not having to, run, for employees. You're able to work your schedule to fit your life.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I like doing it is just because, I don't have to sort of do a lot of organisation stuff as far as if I want to take a day off or I want to do something else. The only thing that I need to organise is to make sure that I keep the days free and take the days off or whatever that I need to. Or if I have to take a day off all of a sudden or whatever, with gutter cleaning, it really doesn't matter too much with most customers if they push it back a week or whatever. They don't really care as long as they're getting it done. So you can change things around, and people are quite understanding. So it's really good.
Mm.
Yeah,
So, what is it that I think that's a great business. I mean, people talk about it, everything you've just said. What a great business. You've got all this repeat work happening. You're not having to chase it. You're not having to have to do a whole stack of marketing. You've got great customer
yeah.
service. You've got the flexibility, that work-life balance. I mean, isn't that what lots of people are looking for in a business? What a great business to have. What's the thing that you like most about your business? Is it getting outside? Is it working with your customers? What is it that you love about your Gutter-Vac business?
Yeah, for me, it's about seeing customers and seeing them every year. So you do build a relationship with your customers, which is really good. I like being outdoors. I've always preferred working outdoors, so it's good in that sense. Sometimes it's challenging, especially in winter. I'm in Melbourne, so it can be tricky sometimes. So you do have a few days where you're sort of rained out or whatever, but generally it's not too much of a hassle. You just basically rescheduling work and take the day off and go and do something else. but, uh, but but yeah, I just like working outdoors. I like working with my customers and just I like the flexibility that this business offers. Really, that's the big things. Yeah, and also the income.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we often forget about that, you get into a business to make money and it's okay to to say that. It's good to have a profitable
Yeah,
business. Um,
yeah.
what is it? What do you like about being a part of the Gutter-Vac network? Like you've had the experience of being in a business working on your own, like nobody else there. What is it like being a part of the franchise group and having that network of other franchisees around you? Have you found that that's been a good thing for you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I've worked for myself as a contractor. I've worked for myself in a standalone business with employees before, and the one big difference with Gutter-Vac is that you've got your own business, but you're also you're working alongside other franchisees that are doing the same thing. So you sort of got support from your other franchisees. Obviously, you've still got support from head office, but you sort of find that you turn more to your franchisees more than you do head office because they're the guys that are in the field doing the same sort of stuff as you, and they generally have a really good understanding. And if you're experiencing a certain situation or a job that's out of the ordinary, you can pretty much guarantee that one of the other guys has been in that situation before. So you've always got someone there that can sort of give you some ideas and stuff. So yeah, so it's really good that
Did you
way.
find that really valuable when you first started your Gutter-Vac business, having those other people to go to as you're learning, like how do I quote this job and
Yeah.
how am I going to access this job? Was that really valuable to you in those first, year or two?
Yeah, definitely. When you first start, it's really handy. And also, I found the conferences, like Gutter-Vac does a conference every year, and just meeting up with all the guys from different states and all that sort of stuff is really, really good. It's just good to sort of bond and form relationships with the other guys, and also just obviously get knowledge on you know, the type of work that we're doing and stuff like that. But yeah, even like the Melbourne guys, we have our own WhatsApp group. So we're shooting messages to each other every day, just with jobs and stuff and experiences that we've had. And, sometimes we just have a bit of a laugh on there. And yeah, so it's really handy just having other guys doing the same work that you can sort of bounce things off. So yeah, it's good.
Have you ever found, you're just talking about that, the Melbourne group. Have you ever found that someone
Yeah.
might have picked up work with a particular company or something like that, and then they've been able to say, hey, we've actually also got someone over here in Knox, and they've been able to get more work for you? Like, do you find that there's a bit of sharing of work when you have bigger contracts?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, bigger contracts and even smaller jobs. Like you'll have residential customers that you might do a job for someone, and then they say, "Oh, my dad lives in such and such a suburb. I want to get him to, get his gutters done as well." And it might be outside your territory, so you're basically giving another franchisee a job because you've had this contact with a customer and you're passing it on. And we just do a lot of sharing that way. So. Yeah, so it's swings and roundabouts. Like you might give some to one of the other guys, and they'll give stuff to you, and it all sort of works out in the end. But it's you definitely, you've got more presence when there's more guys around. You've got more of a presence, and you end up just getting more work, I guess. So yeah, it's good.
Absolutely. So, if
Mm.
someone was thinking about joining Gutter-Vac and they were looking at it, what do you think are the key things you would tell them, to think about? Like, what are the keys they need to have? Like, what sort of traits do they need to have, or what are the things that you'd recommend to them to do to get the best possible start in a business if they join Gutter-Vac?
Um, I think if they enjoy building relationships with clients or customers. If they come from that background as well, it's obviously helpful. So maybe if they've got a sales background, that'd be very helpful. But any sort of background where they've had to deal with, customers or clients or whatever, I think is an advantage. Enjoying working outside, I think, is a good thing. Some guys come from an office background and they've really enjoyed just stepping out of the office and being outside and working outside. Just the challenge of building something yourself, like that. I think that's one of the enjoyable things is actually building something from the ground up, building a business and actually looking back and going, 5 years ago I was here and now I'm here. And look at the change, and I'm doing this now, and I'm making more money, and I'm whatever. So yeah, so I think that's a good thing as well. It sort of gives you a bit of incentive to sort of, push a bit harder and try and, improve your life and improve your business and
Yeah,
stuff. So yeah.
absolutely. And, like we just said that, you seem pretty happy in your business, 7.5 years, everything's ticking along. I always look at Gutter-Vac businesses and I go, there's always room for growth. If you looked at your territory, I'm not saying you needed to do this, but if you said, yeah, actually, I wanted to put on some staff and maybe have another vehicle and stuff, is there actual opportunity for that in the Knox territory, do you think, if you were so inclined to do it?
Oh, yeah, there's so much opportunity. You just find yourself driving around and you look at all the houses and you drive around from street to street and you might notice houses that you do each year or whatever, but then there's like literally hundreds of other houses that you don't do. And you sort of think, well, either someone's doing it or no one's doing it. And, so there's plenty of opportunity with residential and there's plenty of opportunity with commercial as well. I found with commercial stuff, what worked best with me was just trying to do face-to-face marketing, catch up with, a retirement village manager or whatever and just try and get face-to-face or with someone that's managing the school or whatever and talk to them. And, if you've got the time to do that, you can sort of build your business that way as well. So.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks so much for talking to us today, Bryan. I think that's a great example of someone who's come in, started a business. You started from a greenfield site, so you built it up and just did the basic things and did them well, keeping your customers happy and building that strong repeat business to a highly profitable business that suits you and your life and what you want from a business. So thank you for joining us. I've loved
Yeah.
having a chat to you, and I'm sure that people are out there, you'd be happy to take a call from someone if they were looking to join Gutter-Vac. You'd be happy to take a call and have a chat to them one-to-one, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, no worries. Yep, thanks,
Thanks,
Tracy.
Bryan.